mailbox when you come in. Come make your bags, they check everything. Well, I have some. All right, if you make, okay, go.
Just gonna check them real quick.
Go ahead. We'll wait on you. I thought she was having secretary. I gotta go back. Oh, yeah, I'll find out what you guys. I took the results of the neural surgeon yesterday. He didn't put a copy of his MRIs in there. Are we ready? Yes.
The meeting is called to order. Roll call, please.
Mary Jane?
Here.
Peggy? Here. Luther?
Here.
Bill?
Here.
Ralph?
Here.
Candidates for council seats.
Candidate.
Who are your candidates for the, to fill the council seat?
Kim and, well, don't see the other one.
Okay. That's good.
Wayne? No. I don't see him. So,
Are the members familiar with who the other one is?
Wade Mann, he lives down on High Street. He was asking about, he said he was going to be here, but I don't see him. So,
Is there anybody in the audience that wants to be nominated?
anyway, Kim she works with the university in Oxford, and she does grants, and she's been on the council before as appointed, filling in a seat, and she would be excellent with our finance committee.
Is there a nomination for?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we place Kim on in the empty seat for village council.
I'll second that motion.
Are there any other nominations? Hold on. Is there a motion to close nominations?
I make a motion, we close nominations.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to nominating Kim Fields for the empty council seat. We have a roll call.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
You want to come up here and take the oath of office?
Congratulations.
No, Hector, really?
Close up.
She gave her orders. Raise your right hand, please. I state your name.
I, Kim Fields,
Do hereby solemnly swear
do hereby solemnly swear
that I shall support the Constitution of the United States
that I shall support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
and that I shall faithfully, honestly, and impartially
that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties of member of council
discharge the duties of member of council
for the village of New Paris, Ohio,
for the village of New Paris, Ohio,
for the term ending December 31st, 2019,
for the term ending December 31st, 2019,
to which I have been appointed.
to which I have been appointed.
Thank you. Welcome, we're glad to have you.
Thank you.
You're going to take a seat tonight, if you would, please.
Where's her chair at?
For chair.
Which way we going? I mean, which? Move down one letter. Let me get a shot here. That works.
You don't care.
No, well,
He'd say, good for
Yeah.
her.
We can run up the line too. Maybe from the bottom.
Right.
You're fine. Wow, it's a letter.
I know.
I'm sorry.
That's the truth. It is the truth. Well, indeed.
What?
Next order of business is to elect a council president. Then to hear nominations.
I
I'd like to
nominate Mary
nominate-
Jane.
Who's
going
going first?
Oh,
What's that?
you both was talking at the
Both talking
same
at the same
time.
I'd like to nominate Ralph Duncan.
There's one, and there's another nomination.
I nominated Mary Jane Thomas. Since she's been a president of the council before, the mayor of New Paris before, I think that she would be, I would highly recommend her in case something would happen to the mayor. The president has to step in, and she's got the knowledge.
There are two nominations. Are there any other nominations? Someone need to close the nominations?
Close.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, and we'll go with, all those in favor of Mary J. Thomas as council president, please raise your hand.
I stand.
You gonna vote for yourself?
No.
All those in favor of Ralph Duncan as council president? You're abstaining from the vote? You're voting for you? Okay. So it's Ralph, Kim, and Bill voting for Ralph, and Luther and Peggy voting for Mary Jane. Is that correct? I got the vote correct? You don't want to vote?
Don't Ralph vote for himself, I'll vote for myself.
We have a tie now, it's up to me.
Yeah, now you have to do it.
That's just me. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I'm going to ask if we could have Ralph as council president, only because I know Mary Jane's health is a problem right now, and I also think she's overwhelmed sometimes. I would love to have you, you're right. She
Yeah,
has
I
a lot
will
of
be
knowledge.
absent for a while.
So
Some surgeries I have.
I will break the tie, and the new council president will be Ralph Duncan. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to, if everybody have a chance to look at the March minutes.
Yes. I make a motion the minutes be approved.
Second that motion.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
No.
Luther?
Yes.
Bill? Kim? Ralph?
Yes.
The minutes are approved. Is there a problem with them, Peggy? Was there something that was incorrect that we should correct in the minutes?
I already voted no. It's okay.
All right. I want to entertain a motion to approve the warrants and payroll timesheets.
Approve warrants and time sheets.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Kim? Ralph?
Yes.
Chair asks for a motion to approve the interest transfers from the general fund to the appropriate
moved.
funds.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Bill? Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Is there a motion to approve the operating transfer fund to the police, operating transfer to the police fund from the general fund?
Motion made.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Bill?
And is there a motion to approve the grant matching transfer to the street department fund?
Motion made.
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Mr. Tubesing and Mr. Schaefer are the first people on our agenda here now, so come forward and...
How are you guys?
Hi, how are you?
Good. My name's
Great.
Zach
Hi, Zach.
Schaefer, and then this is my grandma and grandpa, Ken and Donna Tubesing. We've decided to take on the project of reopening the lamp post here in New Paris.
Oh, good.
Yes, yes. So, we've already met and had a meeting with the zoning board. So, I'm sure that's coming up later in your meeting. But there's one other order of business that we would really like to get taken care of. First off, a little bit about us. We're from West Alexandria. I ran Buckeye Jake's. I'm sure you guys are familiar or heard of that restaurant for 4.5 years. Well, there's kind of one loophole with the restaurant. So as you guys may or may not be aware of, liquor licenses are based on population per capita. So you get one type of each classification of license for every 2,000 population. New Paris, I think they said the state had, they had like, you guys have like a population of 1,400. So you have one classification of every liquor license. So Bombbox had a class, a D1, a D2, and a D3 license, which is beer, liquor, and wine, Monday through Saturday up until 1 a.m. Well, he did not renew his license when he sent the building to foreclosure. So our gracious state just took his license back because the area was overpopulated, with Southern Comfort having a D1, 2, and 3, and then the Red Front having the D5. So the only license that was available was a D6. All of the D6 does is it takes you from 1 a.m. to 2:30 and then allows you to serve on Sundays. But you have to have a D1, 2, or 3 to get the D6. So we're dead in the water. So after talking to the state and stuff, the only option that we have is we have to have the legislative authority and the municipality's blessing. There's a paper that would have to be signed and a letter that would have to be wrote for us to apply for what's called a TREX permit. A TREX permit is basically the council and the legislative body recognizing that we're wanting to bring in another liquor license for economic growth and development of the town. So it's simply, had we known that this was going on back in August, we could have purchased it from Mr. Bombach and I wouldn't be up here. Yeah, we wouldn't be having this issue. So we have to go through what's called a safekeeping list. There's lots of loopholes to jump through, and there's a huge cost associated with it. The safekeeping list, we're looking at getting a license from a lady in Fairfield, and they can charge us whatever they want for that license. The licenses that we need are roughly $600 each from the state, but you can pay from $15,000 to $25,000 to $45,000 for these licenses. So before we even do that, this is the first step. Whether that's something that you guys are willing to entertain, we would love it if you would. Obviously it's not like we are bringing another restaurant that will have food or beer into New Paris, but it's nothing from what you guys haven't already had. So, we're going to make it our strong point and stuff with the restaurant is we're going to be known as a family-oriented restaurant that has a bar. We're not going to be a bar that has food. That's very important to us, and that's something that through management and through ownership that we will control. We will keep our thumb on that, and I can assure you, as long as the three of us are involved, it will never be a nuisance to this town. So. We've already had the pleasure of working with the office staff, water department, street department, fire department, police department, and the zoning board, and you guys are really blessed with a really great group of people here that are running the town for you guys. So, moving forward, like I said, there's some information on that page. There's just an economic development transfer form, if that's something that you would, if you guys do decide to move forward with this, like I said, it would require a signature from whoever signs all of your official documents, whether it's the mayor, council, or president of the council. If you guys did decide to move forward with that, I don't know if you guys have, what your policies are, if you have to have a public hearing for that, or, but that's what, we would just need a signature and a letter stating that you guys are willing to approve the transfer of a D1, 2, and 3 license into New Paris for the reasons of economical growth and development of the town. So, gotta love the state.
and the name here's, gonna call it lamppost.
We're called the Lamp Post,
Wonderful, I
yes.
like
So
that.
we've been researching and stuff. My grandpa, he's an auctioneer in West Ellis, so he even has some old memorabilia from back when it was Jody Federico's Lamp Post. And we're working on getting some of the original salad dressing recipes, garlic bread recipes, that kind of stuff. So, it's going to be the Lamp Post because it's been, I'm only 26, but it's from what I've gathered on Facebook and everybody, it's a huge staple to this town, from a small town. I think it's very important that we support our roots, and I'm excited.
Help you on the salad dressing.
All right, sounds good. I know, yeah.
Yeah, that too.
So we're very excited. We've got a lot of work to do. I know Peggy stopped by. You stopped by and saw all of our work, and Jimmy and some of them have been down there.
Yeah.
There's an electrical nightmare down there, so.
A lot of nightmares.
Oh, a lot of nightmares, yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the liquor license, the 1, 2, and 3. And that was,
Yeah, the D1, 2, and 3. That's
The
just
D1.
beer, liquor, and wine.
Yeah.
6 days a week until 1 a.m. So.
Is there a second to that?
There is a second to that. I'll second it.
look, Yeah.
Mary Jane?
yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Kim?
Yes.
Ralph?
Yes.
And when I turn 18, I get a free fish bowl.
You get 2 free fish.
I don't want beer in it either.
All right, sounds good. Thank you guys very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Melanie, Alan, you're next.
Okay.
Okay. Well, good evening.
Good evening.
A couple things I want to bring up. There was some talk at the last meeting that I wasn't here, and Mary Jane brought up the Porta Johns. And I just want to bring a little bit of information that might have been missing from that meeting.
Yeah.
Because I've been in communication with Rumpke, and I'm not by any means a voice for New Paris, but they did mention they will supply a wheelchair accessible Porta John for the park for $118 a month with weekly service. And there was a question about damage, who's going to pay for any damage to it. Well, that's always a concern for the town. They will pay for minor damages. If something was to happen where a vehicle would hit it to destroy it, it was a $500 replacement cost. I wanted to...
Vandalism, wouldn't cover vandalism.
Well, I guess it would depend to what degree, like they bust out a vent or...
And I was going to check on that, and I forgot to do it. Amanda, if we can get a hold of the insurance company and ask them about that, since it's going to be on the village property.
Yeah, that's what the Rumpke rep said as well.
Yeah,
Most people
okay.
have liability insurance or property
Yeah.
insurance that would cover that.
I don't know what it covers, so we need to check on it.
I just wanted to add that to start off. What I'm really here for is to talk about Community Cleanup Day for the town of New Paris. It's being organized for May 19th. And I'm working with Rumpke. They've actually donated 2 trash trucks for that Saturday morning from 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. What I'm also working with National Trail High School is to get some volunteers to help out during that day. What I've run across is that when people volunteer for these types of things, that most of the time you better get a waiver signed of some nature. I've seen many communities in the area, whenever they do a community cleanup, they've got a waiver. So there's many waivers that we can get offline off of the internet. I've downloaded one from this was from Broward Municipal Service District Community Cleanup Day. It's just a general release of waiver for volunteers. They all basically contain the same verbiage. So if there's any concern about people getting hurt, so we definitely have to have someone sign off on a waiver. What I'm coming to the council for is to pay for the cost of the dumping. It is going to be $40 a ton at the Preble County landfill. I've spoken to David Wilson, who manages it. he's given me a list of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. I've pretty much done the work to cover everything that's not accepted, my electronics or refrigerators, dehumidifiers. I've already spoke to a couple of people who will actually take the refrigerators for free. So we don't have to actually pay for the disposal of those. At the landfill, those are $30 a pop, regardless if there's Freon in them or not. So we've got a guy who's going to actually bring down a trailer, drop it off down here. We arrive with the refrigerator, air conditioner, dehumidifiers, we get this stored directly on this trailer. Electronics, this is something that's great, is that they won't take LCD TVs at the landfill. There's certain electronics they won't take. They have hazardous material. Well, IUEs happens to have their monthly recycling program the following week. So we could take all electronics out to the IUE's parking lot. They'll have a big dumpster out there that we can actually put everything, electronics, that's not acceptable out there. So I would have, so I'm here to ask for appropriations for the dumping of the trash, work gloves, possibly some orange vests, work vests to be provided for each volunteer. I was going to ask for some tire disposal, but there is a tire amnesty program that's available next Saturday, in 2 Saturdays from now. They just opened that up. So the pre-registration begins April 9th. So I don't know if the council would want to address the tires or...
We're going to talk about that
Okay.
in just a little
Who's
while.
actually sponsoring this? Alan, is this something you're doing on your own? Do you have one of the organizations in town that's backing you for
Yeah.
liability and financial
So
situation?
the Kiwanis Club, I met with them 2 weeks ago.
They're the sponsor of this?
They're providing a portion of it. So the sponsor, I don't know what you mean by, do we need a
Well, I want to
sponsor?
know who's in charge
I'm in charge.
Okay, then it's personal then. It's an independent thing that you want to do personally. It's not being backed by the Kiwanis or...
Well, I'd love it for you guys to be to back it.
Well, I know, but I want to know whose
It all
idea
started-
this is and who's getting the backing for it,
Yeah.
besides yourself.
So all projects start with a conversation, not necessarily just people backing it,
Well,
but people talking about it. So that's why I want to bring to this, conversation. And, I'm definitely going to be there to make sure it happens. So,
And you're going to be responsible personally for anything that does happen.
as in what?
Accidents or...
No, no,
That's what the waivers are for.
Dollars and cents.
That's what the waiver's for, is for accidents. The dollars and cents is going to hopefully come from your guys' pocket, the new parents, the people with new parents' pocket.
The village has provided funding for this
In the past, yeah, yes. And in the past, it's been approximately between $800 to $1,000 for the dumping cost. What we are looking for is approximately 12 to 20 volunteers needed for this. And I'm working with the high school football coach and baseball coach. They've got between 12 to 20 volunteers that they could drum up.
And those volunteers will be insured to a liability through you or someone else is sponsoring this.
That's what the waiver is for,
That's what
yeah.
the waiver
But
is
a minor can't
for. A
sign a
minor
waiver.
initiative.
Yeah, so on the waiver, there is
I
a,
mean, if they're not 18, their signature is, their parents will have to sign the
right, so
waiver.
there is,
Yeah.
there's a.
I mean, I'm sorry,
There's a place
just trying
right
to
there for
keep
the parents.
everybody,
Yeah, and the parents will have to agree to it. If the parents don't agree to it, they're not going to.
Well, I don't want the village to be liable for any of this.
Exactly, that's what the waiver's for. That's why I came here
So
with the
that's
waivers.
why I'm bringing up the questions.
Yep.
Mayor Jane, I'm sorry, I know you were a part of things when they happened before.
Billy Sweet had it before, and Rumpke has helped out since Billy sold his.
And there were waivers then, and that's all there were? Do you remember?
I don't think there were waivers at the time, no.
Okay, because I don't think I'd touch it without a waiver.
But the village did
And
pay
even
for
waivers
them.
are not written in stone.
Yeah, well, nowadays you gotta have waivers.
You have to have a lot of things.
We have
Yeah.
to protect ourselves.
Right.
We've got to.
Yeah,
That's what the waiver does, right? It
Yeah.
protects the town to a point. To a point. Well, what does that mean, to a point?
Well, like the mayor said, if you get involved with teenagers or someone underage, the parents are responsible for that. in
That's
case
why the
something
parents
happens.
have to sign the
Then
waiver with the kid.
The parents may not be able to cover damages themselves or something.
So these types of community services happen all over the U.S. every weekend, every day. High schoolers do this all the time.
Right.
Right.
So I don't, and I get that this is a community cleanup where it's going to take, people possibly moving heavy objects. So it's, so,
That's a good thing.
these things do happen all the time. There's ways to be protected. And, a waiver is one level of protection.
It's just a blanket. The waiver's a blanket for anything.
Right. So this is scheduled for May 19th, so we've got plenty of time to investigate it.
And I have one question, is who's going to, are you taking care of advertising it so that everybody will know about it if we do this?
Yes.
And what to do with all the different
Yeah.
things?
All you guys have to do is cut a check. That's easy. Isn't it?
You got to have money to do that. Remember that.
And if there's no more other questions, I have some other things I'd like to speak about too.
Well, why don't we handle this stuff one at a time? Is there a motion to pay for the dumping fees from cleanup day on May 19th?
I'll make a motion. I think it's a great thing.
I'll second.
Mayor Jane?
We're
Yes.
voting.
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Bill? Ken? Ralph?
I got one question. Where's the money coming from?
Well, out of the general fund.
There are contingency funds, I think, that
Enough to cover what we're talking about?
we
We
should
put a
say
price
that
tag?
there's enough in there
Are
for
you
about
gonna
up
put,
to $1,000.
are you gonna put it up to $1,000
We
limit?
need to put a
or
cap on
I
this.
think you need to put a cap
Yes.
on it.
Before I vote, I want
In
to
the
count.
motion. Do you want to amend the motion, please, to pay for the dumping fees up to?
Up to $1,000.
All right, I think we need to revote.
Second.
First of all, I need to rescind the first motion.
Please do.
So I make a motion, I rescind the motion, first motion that I made. And I need a second.
The motion's rescinded. Now, would you like to make?
Yeah,
a
I'd like to
mod-
make another motion
Please.
that village paid for the dumping fees up to $1,000.
I second the motion.
Mayor Jane?
Yes.
Peggy?
Yes.
Luther?
Yes.
Bill? Ken? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Okay, Alan, what else we got?
Okay, next, in speaking with the Kiwanis a couple weeks ago, Greg Arnett is now the Preble County Parks Commissioner. So inside of the conversation I was having with him about a park, he was surprised to know that we're actually looking into creating a park in Paris. So he wasn't really aware of what was happening, so to speak. So there's lots of people, there was also David Wessler was present at the Kiwanis meeting. And they suggested that we create a core committee with one member from the village council, the Delta Theta Tau sorority, the Kiwanis, the Chamber of Commerce, the National Trail Foundation, the Masons, and the American Legion, Post 360. In order for this committee to have any, presence in the community, there has to be core leadership, I believe, each of these associations. My question to the council is, are you guys willing to, first of all, be a part of this committee? And if so, who's going to be?
Alan, we need to create our own park committee within our own village first. and work on plans in the future that park that belongs to the village of New Paris instead of any independent organization in the county. But this is only my opinion as a council member, we need to create our own committee, our own park superintendent, our own people to deal with that locally. We can work with the other parks in the community or the Preble County Park Superintendent and other aspects to get this park done. But we need control and we need the leadership ourselves within the community of the village and this council that we have here presently to take care of that issue. And all the little baby steps that we've got to go through to get to that point, we need to do in-house ourselves. And we're working on that. And I think it's wonderful that you're working as hard as you are, getting the ideas that you're getting. But I still feel like being fair to the village of New Paris, that this park needs to come from within the design, the movement of what goes on to get it to where it needs to be.
I agree, and that's why I mentioned one member from every
But to say that
organization.
you're going to put a member here on that committee and let that committee have charge of that park, I'm totally against it.
Gotcha, yeah, and so I didn't say anything about them having power.
Right, but I'm just making a statement that
The goal of this is to create a nonprofit organization which people can donate funds to.
they can donate it right now to that park and have it set aside for a park fund without going through the Preble County Park Fund or through that organization there. And it can be controlled, that monies can be controlled by the council and the village of New Paris.
And I totally get your concern for this, and this is going to be created from within the village, because this has never been done before, so there's never been a committee actually created by all these associations.
There was a committee created under Mr. Van Winkle's administration for this park up here, made up of members in different social societies of the Kiwanis, the churches, and this type of stuff. And then you're coming in here and you're wanting to create another committee for another committee.
Well, that committee doesn't exist anymore, that Rick Van Winkle.
It doesn't?
No.
I'm not aware of that because I was on that committee, so as far as I know, I'm still a member of it.
So I've spoken to Jeff Gintner and Mr. Van Winkle, neither one of them are members of it anymore.
I understand that.
So this is just a way to move this into a direction where it's actually going to happen. And that's why everyone's getting excited about this possibility for a park. And there are certain ways that need to be, there are certain, I guess, steps that need to be taken.
Certain steps that need to be taken.
The first set of steps is actually create a committee that's going to say, yes, we're responsible for it.
And we're going to create that committee from this council seat.
This evening, we're going to.
Great, that's
I mean,
awesome.
there will be council members on a park committee. It will be set up just like the rest of our committees.
And the one concern that was brought up was that when people, private donors donate to villages and such, that it's not tax deductible unless you're a nonprofit. You know, I know about that. So that's why I was mentioning 501c3 nonprofit setup, because when people do want to donate $10,000, $20,000, maybe $50,000, they're not going to want to pay tax on that. So if you want to get the big fish and the big donors, you're going to have a nonprofit set up. And that could be, you know,
But we
they
don't have it
they
yet.
could be managed.
The people that are giving money now, whatever the nomination is that comes into the village, is coming in probably as non-tax.
Right, yeah.
But it's up to them to give to the village in the way that they want to, not to that organization yet, because that organization hasn't been set up yet.
Right.
With the backing of the village of New Paris.
I totally understand that. But if you want to play this game with creating a park for New Paris that's actually going to win, you're going to need big
We're
backers.
going to play that game according to this council, not according to Alan.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, there's another way to look at this. And the
I've
way we've been
looked at
looking
it
at it for the last
several
10
ways.
years is not working.
It's working so far.
And there was a park promised 10 years ago. Now, you know, a friend of mine who's had a 5-year-old at the time, he's 15, he doesn't care about the park.
Hey, we all got to go through baby steps, man. That
Well,
money ain't out there on a tree
I get
somewhere.
that. I get that. I totally get it. And I wouldn't be here if I believed that baby steps worked. So I'm saying that I don't believe the baby steps are working.
So Ralph, where, the committee that you was on, how many people is that involved and what is going on with it?
There's nothing going on at this time because we haven't created a park committee, like the mayor said. We're going to create a park committee,
Oh, tonight.
and we're going to have a park superintendent on this committee, I'm assuming, isn't that correct? Or someone in
We're
charge
going
of
to
that
talk about
committee
it, yes.
that will be in charge of the park. And the monies that come into the village for the park will be designated for that particular purpose, and it will be run within the village of New Paris with the authority of the council and the mayor to see what goes on with that park, not an outside of
Oh,
someone
no,
else, you know.
I don't agree with anybody coming, but I do agree with Alan, getting volunteers from the,
Get all the volunteers and all the information.
as long as we work together and don't let it sit and die like it
There's
has
people that's been in that
been.
building up there because certain individuals in the community have asked them to come in and look at it and make plans for this and make plans for that, draw this up and draw that up, and they're all trespassing on that, and the village is responsible for anybody that goes in there, the liability that we could get from that, just because there's so many people that got so many different ideas that they want to go into the school and they want to do this, they want to save that, they want to sell this, they want to do that, and something else. So many people that's got all these ideas. Well, I think it's great that everybody's got an interest in doing it, but we've got to do it the way it's supposed to be within the village and the county.
Yeah, and, well, then we talk about the committee and getting some people on
And
there.
let us get that part
And
done
let's work
first, and then let's
together.
move on to something like Alan Scott or something
Yeah,
else
and
that's out there
just
to
to,
work with.
Kathy, was you going to say anything about talking to Mr. Senator Beagle at the luncheon?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, we did.
Okay.
Bill Beagle was there, Jeff Resbeck was there. Both of them were pretty positive about our $250,000 that's in the budget. I know that the governor signed a budget last week, but I'm not sure if it was the capital budget or all of it got approved, and I haven't really had the time to look. But they seemed pretty certain that eventually that'll get signed and that things won't be taken out of it. So we will be able to abate all the asbestos and get all that out of there. Once that's done, we'll have some options. Until then, we have no options, including people being admitted into that building. It's not safe, and we are not going to take the responsibility for allowing anybody in there. You're charged with criminal trespass if you are caught in there or coming out of the building, because it's not a safe place for anybody to be. But, yeah, they seem to think that we're okay. We're going to get our money. It's just a matter of getting it signed and getting it to us, so.
And that's one of the steps that I
Yeah.
was trying to talk, the baby steps that we have to go through to even move forward on anything in that park. We'd like to be able to develop it overnight, but it can't be done.
I would just really entertain, including everyone from every association that participates in this community, because there's lots of resources to be had out of each association. And everyone that's on the Kiwanis committee is actually probably on 2 or 3 other committees within Preble County. So this talk of this park can really get out there. There's a lot of resources that can come in from Eaton and Lewisburg. They've already offered up their planning group. So just to put that out there as well. So there will be support of the planning. That's all I've got.
Anybody else have any more questions for Alan?
Getting back to the porta potty thing. I think your mom was here at the last meeting and talked about a car show up there. She was going to try to raise money for the park. Wasn't it?
Right.
Am I
Yeah.
wrong?
No, you're right. I
Okay.
think that's going to happen.
Yeah, there's people calling me up with money to give daily, and they're asking me to give it to, and I don't know what to tell them.
You can tell them they can bring it right down here and it'll be safe. Now, it won't be tax deductible, I agree with you there. What they can do, I'm assuming, is give it to somebody who already is a 503C organization and trust that they will run it through their books and turn it in down here, which I would think that anybody here in New Paris would do that. Right now, that's where most of our donations are coming from. Places like that, community groups who are already charitable donators and have the designation that you can be tax exempt.
Do you know who those groups are?
Don't they at all? It's
Sorority.
Are they a 501c3?
Mason's tax exempt.
You guys having a meeting Wednesday night? All right.
Yeah, we are.
I may have to show up on that meeting too. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Page.
I think it's south.
Is Paige not here? Okay. Let me just say that I think that she is Todd's wife, and Todd is in charge of this car show that they want to have up here at the school. He has been down, he has filled out a request to use the park, use the area up there. It would be south end where the Apple Fest is, and that shelter, that south shelter, and they're talking about May 12th, which is also garage sale days, guys. So, but they, they might do well. There might be more people in town and, want to go up and look at it. I don't know. The only thing they're talking about is they might want, they don't have any idea how many cars they'll have, and they don't have any idea how soft the ground is going to be up there. And we sure don't want a bunch of cars pulling in there and making ruts and, making a big mess. So what they're concerned about is they may want the street right there. I have said that I would ask you about that because from the bridge north to, before you get to that first home, would be the logical area to block if they want it and not anything else. It's the first time they've done it. They don't have any idea how many cars they'll have. Todd is in the Village Wheels Car Club, so he's expecting a lot of them, but, I don't know, you guys. It could rain and nobody show up.
It would just be the area there on Spring.
But if they have to use, if they have a lot more cars than they expect, or if they have to use it because it's too soft, the ground is, that's the area that I said you might consider. I'm not considering it, you all are.
I have a question for Brown. I don't like the idea of porta potties. I think we're looking for trouble with porta potties. Just because kids, teenagers, whatever, are destructive. I'm not blaming anybody, I'm just saying this, I think it's going to be, we can do it, but I think it's going to be a problem. What is the possibility of, and can we look into the fact of maybe getting somebody to build like a permanent bathrooms outside, on the existing ground?
The bad part about building something permanently at this time is that if you build something permanently this time, then you'll have to design a park around that.
Okay.
So whatever you would build now, stationary, you're going to have to do anything else in the future.
Around it.
Work around it. I would not like to have to plan that park out from a restroom.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I can see that.
So using a porta potty during activities that may be going on up there like we have in the past is fine. But to put a porta potty up there permanently would be better than the building a regular stationary bathroom of sorts. I think Mary Jean's the one that brought up the idea of the porta potty.
Yeah.
And there again, I'm not real sure that's a great idea or a bad idea.
It's better than nothing.
It's better than nothing.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
That's exactly right.
And
And as the future goes with this park and people reserving the area there where the new facilities are that we put up there, probably would have to look at something for that in the future. or, immediately, I don't know, that's up to council to decide, but, we're getting more and more interested in the park, so more and more things that have to be done, but it's gonna have to be done maybe steps at a time instead of all at once because of finances and everything. I agree, Luther, that something permanent is the best solution, but whatever you do,
Then you
you're
gotta-
gonna have to
okay.
build around it,
Right, okay.
And can I say something on that too?
Yeah, I mean,
If you, say if you do build bathrooms up there, and that school gets tore down, that school is actually built up on a hill right now. So if you put something permanent there, you cannot change the grade of that ground. So you might have a bathroom up here, you got the shelters down here, you got a basketball court down here. Anything permanent now before the school goes, you're gonna have a bunch of hills. If nothing's up there right now, you can grade that whole area off, and it'll be flat.
there's even been some interest in going in using part of the building that's existing now to try to configure a restroom, and that's almost impossible to do with what's up there. Safety-wise, financial, everything. Really, until that building is completely torn down, and we can start from
Here, wait a minute.
scratch.
Just a minute, I'm going to let you talk here, just go ahead, Ralph.
Oh, Until that building is completely tore down from scratch, and we can work with something from scratch, get the ground laid out like we want it laid out. Didn't get proposals from what the buildings in the future should look like, restrooms, anything that would have to come, needs to be done after it's down. Working around it as it is now, what we've done so far is probably about as good as we're going to get until that building gets completely down. The track's not going to make any difference. The only thing we could do to improve the track would be blacktop it or put some other substance on it other than the
Yeah,
gravel
blacktop,
that
yeah.
we had, that was all we could afford.
Yeah.
But at least we started with something.
Right.
And the shelters, same thing. We did them, they look good right where they're at. I think they're work good for anybody, either side of the building. But the future of that park depends on getting that building completely down and out of the way and get that land leveled out like we wanted to, and then we can build the soccer stadium, we can build the swings, slides, and the water park, and all those other things that we need to go with it, but that building has got to come totally down before you can move forward, or you're gonna be working around
Yeah.
a restroom or a fireplace or something else, and you can't do that.
Do we have anything?
When is the demolition going to start on the school?
The only way the
No,
demolition
yeah.
can start is till the money's been appropriated. There's been no money actually appropriated at all. The money that Railsback's talking about, that $250,000 for the asbestos and anything else we wanted to use, still out there in limbo. That's never been approved yet. Totally. If no one's come to this council that I know of as mayor and said that money is actually there for this or something else.
It's still in the budget. We're just waiting on that budget to be signed, and it's done.
You might think it's out there, and then you start with a project.
Well, we're not going to start anything
And then
if we
and then
can't.
find out there's no money, then we're all in trouble.
And then we was told that they have to go through their steps because they don't know where to start and they gotta have a
And how many
plan to go
times has the
through that.
state come and told us we can have this? 6 months later, they come around and say, oh, we gotta take that back because of something else. We've got to get some guarantees here before we can move forward.
Okay.
People that want to volunteer money and send stuff in is fine. We can put it in a fund of some sorts to hold it until the next move is made, and then we can take from that. And then
We have a fund, do we not?
we have a park fund
We have a
started.
line item
Yeah.
park fund.
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do. All right, is that
That answers
everything?
your question, Lucas?
Yeah, sure does. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Want to make any discussion or do anything about porta potties tonight? I mean, are we prepared to do anything with that, or are we still looking into it?
I haven't looked into it any farther. Alan, I don't know, you mentioned that you was going to maybe talk to the, some of the organizations about the funding, or Masons or somebody. No?
No dice.
No? Okay.
That $118 a month doesn't sound like much, but you do that every month from a small budget that we have. Does the sanitation have enough? to
From
cover
like
that?
May to October?
Yeah.
No.
It doesn't
I
sound
have a
like much.
$1,500 budget for the whole year, and
Yeah.
it's gone in
So,
June and July.
There you go. And with $118 a month on top of that. Now, some of the organizations want to donate $118 a month to cover the porta potties. That's great.
All right, let's move along here. Page is not here. Caleb Gunther.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I just want to say is there a law that we ain't allowed to drive motors? Because according to the cops, I got a ticket last Thursday for driving across the street and on the sidewalk.
The way I understand it, there's Ohio Revised Code that says motorized vehicles of any kind can't be driven on a sidewalk.
Is that
So
it?
that's the Ohio Code.
Is that it? They want for the street?
Well, the street's a whole different thing, but if you have something like you've got, which is a mower, you have to have a driver's license, a valid driver's license, because you're on the street. The chief can probably speak to this better than I can, but you have to have a valid driver's license. Something like that would have to have a slow-moving vehicle.
We have an SMD on ours. Would that count?
You
On
cannot
having a
have
license?
No, not if you don't have a driver's license.
Okay.
You've been told that multiple times, you've given multiple warnings about that. You're also given the phone number for the prosecutor to contact with any questions, because the prosecutor's the one who informed us to give you this instructions.
Why do you have to have a driver's license to drive a lawnmower on the street?
Because you gotta have a driver's license to operate anything on the street.
Any type of vehicle?
Any kind of classified.
Any kind of motorized vehicle.
Even, how come these kids drive mopeds on the street without a driver's license?
And they're from the state of Indiana.
And dirt bikes.
State of Indiana, you're allowed. State of Indiana, you don't have to have a driver's license to operate scooters. Once you cross into Ohio, it's illegal.
Is it illegal?
That's the reason why we seize them.
Oh, okay.
And pounded them. Mr.
Okay.
Bear here can confirm that.
Okay.
He's towed multiple ones for me.
Okay. Well, and the reason I brought that up is because I see lots of people riding mowers on sidewalks. I see them driving them on the street. Not just him, I've seen him too, but I've seen other people doing it.
It came across, in the past week, we've taken over 7 claims with Mr. Gunther. People asking him to stay off the sidewalks, because as you know, you're responsible for the sidewalks in front of your house. You're responsible for maintenance of it.
That's right.
And everything else like that. When they approach Mr. Gunther, he pulls them off, says some few choice words, and continues to do it. It was brought to my attention. I stopped him, I said something to him, he continued to do it. Spoke to the prosecutor after apparently the mayor was contacted also. Prosecutor advised under Ohio Revised Code Section 4511.711 it is illegal to operate anything classified as a vehicle on the sidewalks. Sidewalks are for walking, not operating vehicles.
How about bicycles?
Technically, bicycles shouldn't be on the sidewalk.
Really?
Yeah, bicycles
That's
are
right,
limited
yeah,
on the street,
that's true.
and they're not even.
Mr. Gunther's been told.
You're gonna write a lot of tickets and put a lot of people in jail. I mean,
And we've let it slide, but when the complaints start piling up because of disrespect to people's properties and to them personally, then you have to do something.
The lawnmower is not even a vehicle to be used on the street, it's to mow grass with. And technically, you're using that lawnmower for a different type of vehicle than what it was designed to be for.
You're technically using that as a motor vehicle.
Correct.
You're using it for your vehicle transport from point A to point B. Like I said, we've discussed this multiple times with Mr. Gunther. The issue is that you're using it for a purpose other than mowing yards.
and you're using it to go to the gas station, you're using it to go to your friend's house, you're using it to go across the road. To do that, to operate a vehicle, because that's what it's classified as, is a vehicle, not a motor vehicle, a vehicle. You must have a valid driver's license to operate on the street.
Well, I'm not asking you that on his behalf. I'm asking you that because I see people on sidewalks and on the street all the time, and I've always wondered, are they allowed to do that?
And because of this section, we are going to start enforcing it.
And because I've been out on the sidewalk, and I'm not going to mention their name, but I almost had my neighbor run me over, and I'm like,
Well, there's a difference when you're mowing. If you're mowing your yard, you're going down the sidewalk, across the sidewalk, that's one thing. When you're driving down the sidewalk just to drive it, because you don't want to walk down the sidewalk or whatever,
I understand.
that's what makes it illegal.
I was curious.
Are there any other questions about this? Caleb, are you clear on this now?
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rick, Mr. Lewis.
You just say Rick.
I've seen in the minutes from last month, it was down for April the 14th, and I told you that Central Western personnel was coming. It's going to be the 18th. It's a Wednesday. They're going to meet at the firehouse at 7 o'clock. We may have a little discussion down there about some things that's going on and everything, but we're going to try to go up to the school, up around Spring Street there, and we're talking about doing some of our events and everything. Let Central Western personnel see what they feel about it, if they're happy with what it is. And here again, I haven't talked to the people that lives along Spring Street there from Walnut, because I'm trying to see what Central Western's going to do, and then see what the village wants us to do before I go talk to them. Here again, Central Western would like for us to be able to set up on Thursday. The competitions is on Friday, Saturday. Now, I've talked to them a little bit, and when they come here the 18th, I'll say something to them again, that if we can, we'll try to, because the big thing what they want to set up on Thursday is what we call the water ball. That's where we're going to have 3 dump trucks, we're going to have 2 water ball courts, we're going to have hose laying out, well, we probably won't have hose laying out on Thursday, but then they try to get all that set up. And then once they get the big tandem dump trucks in, or triaxles, they're going to pretty much take up the street. There's almost no way getting around that unless you get on the sidewalk or up in the yard. So that's why they pretty much, here again, safety is the main concern that they're worried about for everything. They don't like nobody to be around the cables and stuff because they get them extremely tight, because so the water ball, the steel ball goes around like this, otherwise it will start going like this, and things like that. So that's what we're looking at, and we're still working on getting our insurance, $1 million liability insurance. We've been having some problems with our insurance company, but they're supposed to be coming in April the 16th. So hopefully by the time the Central Western people come in the 18th, we'll have a know where we stand there. Here again, as far as the porta potties, if you guys don't have porta potties up there, we just talking about having 2 sets of porta potties, one handicap, one regular, at each shelter around that area someplace. So that way somebody don't have to walk all the way from one end to the other. And so going from there. And, if there's any questions that anybody's got, that's pretty much it. I will get with those people in those houses, talk to them and everything else. I know it's going to be kind of an inconvenience for them, even if we got them shut down Friday, Saturday, it's going to be kind of convenient. Most of the houses got an alley, except for the very far one, very south one, to get out from the back way. And I noticed the house on the corner of Walnut and Spring, there's 3 vehicles sitting there. About every other house has got 2 or 3 vehicles sitting there. So, but we'll try to accommodate them and everything else. If anybody's got any questions, I'll try to answer them.
What's the date on those?
That's going to be July 19th, 20th, and 21st. The 19th is when they like to set all this stuff up, so the 20th and 21st, Friday, Saturday, is when we have our competitions. And we're trying to keep everything up there and everything, so that it's just in one place. So, but we're still going to try to let everybody know, kind of like Zach, if he can get his down here at the land post up and going. We're going to try to let everybody know that we got places to go here in town, let them know that there's shops to go to, and everything else like that.
I asked Rick to come, I didn't know about the date changes, but I did ask him to come because they have added, they'll probably add an extra day to have that street closed off up there. So I want you to be aware of that.
Rick, the 18th, what time?
7 o'clock. Because here again, they get here at 7 o'clock, I probably won't have a whole lot of daylight, we probably won't stay at the firehouse long. We'll try to get up there, so we got some daylight to work with. Anybody from the council is welcome to come up and see what they got to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. And of course, safety.
Police department handled 120 calls for service, made 27 reports, 4 arrests, issued 10 citations, we gave 15 warnings for the month of March. All officers completed their yearly TASER training this month. Also, the same day as our last meeting, which falls under this month, the police department was able to get rid of 2 abandoned vehicles as in the impound. Taking them to the scrapyard, we were able to get $810.60 from that. A couple other things I got on here, I just want to make the public aware. For the past couple of years, we do have a prescription drop box over here at the police department. We've had it for a couple of years. We take everything from pills, from over-the-counter prescription forms. We do not accept liquids, and we do not accept syringes. But if you guys got old prescriptions laying around, or if you guys know somebody that does, you're more than welcome to bring them down here, we'll dispose of them properly. And everything I got on there, and everything, which kind of goes with the mower and everything, I got the golf cart ordinance that the village passed, 2015-02. Going with the mower, people on the mowers and everything else like that. Under that ordinance, the golf carts have to be inspected. So if you live in the village, if you're going to plan on riding a golf cart on the streets, it needs to be inspected, you have to have plates on it. That's not just for, the law. It's basically stating, if you're out there on a golf cart, slow moving vehicle sign, technically that's not even supposed to go on the street. You're involved in a car accident, you're involved, you get hit or anything, that falls on you. If you're operating a vehicle,
So
that's not registered to be on.
It's got to be plated, and you also got to have a driver's license, right?
Exactly. There's actually a...
And lights on it?
Yeah. You basically got to have everything on it that's required for a car. That's all. That's the reason why they're supposed to get inspected. The police department, I do the inspections. So if they got one, they need an inspection and everything, they get ahold of me, I can swing by, fill it out, it's a piece of paper. Must have windshield, headlights, rear view mirror, turn signals, insurance. Same thing as operating a car. Once that form is filled out and everything, they can take that to the B&B, to the title branch, get the title, get the plates on it. So that falls under the whole mower, people operating mowers as personal vehicles on the sidewalk and everything else like that. That's another thing that we're going to start.
I do have one question about the prescription drop-off box, and you may have said it, I just missed it. Is there 24-hour access to that, or do they have to come? I mean, is it a drop where you can go through the...
Yes, you get ahold of anyone of the
Okay,
officers.
they just need to have an officer present.
Yes.
Well,
When Mandy's here, I know Mandy's taking some, and she normally passes it on to me, and I put it over there in the box.
Okay,
So
okay. Thank you. Anybody have questions for the chief? I'm sorry, yes.
I don't know if we're allowed to talk here or not. Question on your golf carts, are you allowed, say like West Valley has a golf cart, and we got our license and everything, but according to our ordinance, we're not allowed to drive them out of the village?
no, the way it is for golf carts and everything, you have to stay on roads that are 35 miles per hour or under.
Can somebody else that's got a licensed golf cart from another village bring it into your village?
You can bring it in here because it's actually classified as a vehicle. It's actually registered as a vehicle. We do that a lot with campgrounds and everything else like that. A lot of seasonals and everything else like that. So the one catch to it is that I can only do the inspection for people that live in the village. So if you live 2 doors outside the village, I cannot legally do the inspection on that property.
Anything else? Thank you, Chief. Building. No report on anything except for the building, okay. Streets?
Where'd Jimmy go?
Right here.
Would you like to come forward?
We got the major thing we got this month was we got the 18-inch tile installed, and the one that's going through the smallest property is abandoned. No water's going through that one anymore. It's not completely finished up. We got the catch basin set and we got the pipe put in. We just got backfill around the catch basin with gravel and finish the yard and everything, but obviously with weather, it's been way too wet and it's just a muddy mess. And then we got potholes on Main Street filled, all Main Streets filled. Got some really bad ones on North Street filled, and then we got a bad one out on 121 by the firehouse. We got that one filled. And we'll be working on Spring Street, getting some of the worst spots there. The whole road is getting redone this summer, obviously, so we don't want to spend a ton of money because it's all going to get ripped right back out. But I do understand some of those holes are bad, and we'll get some of the worst ones.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks,
very
Jimmy,
much.
appreciate it. Thanks for all the work you do.
Lights.
Me. I checked the lights last night, all the lights in town, and everything's copacetic unless Amanda's, anybody say anything about the lights to you? Nope. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Ray.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Before I come on the council, I had addressed the police chief and the council in reference to where I live at on Washington and Pearl on the corner there, about putting some type of sign out there, children at play, because my grandkids and other kids play out there all the time. And I have people coming around my corner there at 50 miles an hour. Sometimes they make the street, sometimes they hit the sidewalk. And if somebody runs over one of my grandchildren,
It's not necessary to talk about that.
I'm just saying though, but people need, when people are coming down through there 55 miles an hour, and don't say they don't, because they do. I sit on my porch and I watch them. And these people need to know that there are kids on these streets. So I had asked the council about putting up some type of sign, maybe like you see the signs where children at play, children drive slow, children. You know what I'm trying to talk about here?
Yeah.
I don't want to go out there and build my own sign because I don't want to get in trouble, But it's, to me, it's what I'm saying is very valid and it's very important.
So you're talking about putting one
On that stretch,
Washington
on that
Street,
stretch, yeah,
and not Pearl, but Washington.
yeah, Jared, you know what I'm talking about.
State highway.
So does that fall under us? Does that have to be a state thing done, or?
No.
The state will not put up the sign. I would have to check with the state to see if the sign can be put up. They won't put it up, but I would have to go through them to see if that's okay. They do have regulation over that stretch, but as far as maintenance and signs and everything, that's us, but it has to be okay through them.
Okay, I was just,
No,
my wife wanted me to bring it up and she's on my case.
Well, I mean, what's children, we're concerned about the safety of everybody, children
Yeah.
and adults.
But, my kids aren't the only ones that play up and down that stretch
Well,
of
no,
road
of
there,
course not.
and it's just,
I guess
Is there a consensus that we
Put up a sign after Jimmy checks with the state and put the sign, order the sign and put it up.
Now, can I, on the other hand, you're not the only one with children on 121, obviously.
Yes.
How are we going to address it if 20 houses on 121 see that, and those 20 houses all want signs in front of their house also?
Well, it's
How-
Well, they have to
where
be
you are.
spaced out. Not everybody needs a sign in their yard. But it really doesn't matter because you can put a billion signs up, they're still gonna drive 50 miles an hour.
But that would be something to think about.
Is there a motion made?
I make a motion that we order a sign and have it put up close to Luke's house or
Can they-
wherever.
Or just along that stretch there.
Pending permission from the
Permit,
state.
yes.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Bill?
Yes.
Kim? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Finance. That would be Bill. I think we're okay, Bill, I think. We're going to get you some help, and then we'll talk about it. Sanitation.
Not everyone got a copy of the ordinance, so I will make some copies, or if Amanda wants to, she can, and give the ones that didn't. I think you and I were the only two since we're on sanitation, but I want everybody to see
I have
it.
one, right? Did I get one? I think I have.
And I would like for Peggy and I to come and go over it, the new part, because I don't see a whole, I mean, it's a good idea of what's going on, but I want to go through it and check it, compare it to the old ordinance, and bring it back to the table and let you guys know if we've made any changes or, the other ordinance has a lot in it, and this in here just pertains mostly to the outside area of the homes, the yards, and that's okay. We can't get inside the homes usually to check anything else out, so I don't know if you want to amend this one to add in some of the old part or what, but we'll go over it and I'll check with the attorney and see if we come up with some other ideas, something we've forgotten that needs to be in there. We'll go over that and make those amendments to that, or adjustments to that ordinance.
You have an executive session scheduled, so I would think that we should be able to, this evening, so we should be able to get some copies. If we can have yours, I'm not sure I need mine at home, to make copies from, to get them to everyone before they leave this evening, so they can take a look at it. But you want to, before you present it formally, you want to go over it all again? You want to get it, okay. Okay, we'll do that. Planning.
We met with Zach. He brought a proposal to the Planning and Zoning Committee about an overhang in the area where the old parking places were at the lamp posts, if anyone's familiar with those along on the cemetery side of the building that were used for, what are they, Zach, was there probably half a dozen parking spots there?
That's what I said.
That they wanted to use that for a dining area, an outside dining area in that area. Here's a copy of
That's what we were looking at.
what they were looking at. The Planning and Zoning Committee did approve for that to move forward on. Would like the council to vote on it to make sure everything's proper. It's
has a
approximately,
copy of what
60-some
they-
feet long, Zach?
It's 14
by 65.
It's a variance on the zoning. It's
They only asked for a 4-foot variance is all they asked for to allow them to create a outdoor seating area. in the area where it was originally a parking area. The Planning and Zoning Committee didn't find anything that would be a problem with that area. We've done that way. Or, right now, you're looking at seating with umbrellas, something like that?
Yeah, there's going to be an overhang on that, so it'll be an overhang, a couple TVs under there, ceiling fans and stuff for casual outside dining.
When you get it, if you'll look, the current entryway, the built-on entryway along the side of the building, the sheltered entryway, it's not going to be out any further than that. That's as far out as it goes. It's the setback is 10 feet from the road. This is going to be 6 feet from the road, but it'll match what's already there.
If you look at it now, I think it's the area where the dumpster's
Yeah, the dumpster's still there. Yep.
It's right where the dumpster's sitting now that they're using to put their debris and
Hey,
things.
Rob, we talked to our builder, he's been out and looked and looked at what we talked about, putting the post in there and everything. And, you know, instructed him in his drawings to incorporate that inside that variance area, so we can be able to sight down where
So the security post and
they'll be in,
the permit will be incorporated in that.
Give everybody just another minute to, so they all get a look at their, what we're talking about. Are there any questions?
It's just that parking area?
Yeah.
So it's from that door to the end of the building?
Yes. Yep, to the corner of the building.
Now, it's out there where he used to cook, have that little
Yeah.
cooker thing. Well, I make a motion that we approve the plans for that. Looks like it's going to be nice.
I second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ken? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. The EPA is here. Have you guys got anything for us this evening?
No, not really. Everything's been going pretty smooth.
Good.
We've done very good awful recently.
Resolution and ordinance. You don't have an ordinance yet for sanitary. It's the one we're going to be looking at. And I don't think we have anything that we're looking at doing right now.
Not
So,
yet.
all right, unfinished business. Is there unfinished business?
Old business, none that I know of, till I get home and think of.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Well, we'll do. Nothing unfinished. In new business, our workers' compensation insurance needs to be renewed. It's gone up $50 from last year. The annual premium on that is now going to be $1,005.
I'll make a motion we approve the workers' comp invoice.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Luther?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ken? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
We have talked about talking to our solicitor, to Jacob Kovach, and I want you to be aware that when we leave a message for Jacob, we pay for it. You know, we're charged. We've had quite a bit of legal business going on here of late, and with a couple of ordinances that we've got him looking at for us, and so we're racking up quite a bill. What we propose is that the mayor may call, the president of council may call, the police chief may call, and on occasion, when nobody's available, Mandy may call the solicitor with instruction from whoever needs or has a question to get a hold of him. But we can't all be calling, because what's happening is, I'm talking to him about sanitation, you're talking to him about, because it was an ordinance, you're
He's
talking
called
to him
me.
about, I know, I understand that.
But does he charge me for calling?
Sure he does. Yes, ma'am, he does.
When he calls
When
me?
he calls you, yes, he does. Yes. That's how they pay all their big college tuition fees. Big charges for everything. So,
No.
I mean, you know, he'll come here if we need him to. We're paying him when he comes here too, you guys. So what we're trying to do is keep his costs down and get the best service for our money, which means that not everyone can just call whenever they need to. Run it through Ralph, through me, through the police chief, if it's a police matter, he'll help you with that. Or, you know, if none of us are available, you can tell Mandy what you need. She can make sure that none of the rest of us, what we'll do is, when we've called about something, we're going to let her know. We've talked to him about this, you know, whatever, because then he's not going to get another call from somebody who doesn't realize that we've already called, and we're going to have to pay twice. So that is how I'd like it to be handled, if that's acceptable. It would probably be a good idea to do that as a motion.
Make a motion that the chain of command for the contacting the solicitor is through the mayor, the president, chief of police, city clerk.
I'll second it. Been seconded.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Whitmer?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Ken? Yes. Ralph?
Yes.
Thank you. See if we can't save any money there. Other new business, I went to a meeting at Preble County Health District, held their annual meeting, and I went, we got mosquito dumps, you know, that you can put in stagnant water, the standing water. Jimmy has those. I've asked him when we get a little, you know, the end of next month or something, the end of this month, to go up and look at the schoolyard, see up around that building if there is standing water, to try to treat that with these, and anywhere else public in the village that has a standing stagnant water problem. We can get more of these. They didn't cost us anything. The health department gives them to us, so if we need them, let him know if you know of a place where we need to be putting them. And and he'll get up around the old school building as much as he can. The other thing is, is anybody available to go to a meeting? It's a community health needs meeting for the health district. It's April 11th at the YMCA in Eaton. That's on Washington Jackson Road there where everything else is, at 6 p.m. You know, what they're doing is looking at the needs of all the communities in the whole county as to what would better serve health-wise here, because we have no physician locally anymore. I think that's, you know, I don't know if there's any help to get one, to locate one, if anybody, if we could get anybody to come here. And it might just be interesting to get information about what other people are doing and talking about. It might, you know. So if anybody's available to go to that, please let me know. I appreciate it.
What was the date again?
It's April 11th, 6 p.m. at the YMCA in Eden. I don't know. Look at the calendar.
Just behind the flag.
It is a Wednesday. That's a Wednesday. Okay, good. Kim can go, and anybody else that wants to go. If you all want to go, that's perfect. The more the merrier. Okay. Health District has also got a continuing levy. You know what ours is? Our police levy is a continuing levy. It was passed in 1982. Their continuing levy was passed, I believe he said, in 1978. It's a 0.3 mil. And they're getting nothing off that, because when you pass a continuing levy, you get the money on the valuation when it was passed. So all these years, we have not been able to increase our revenue on ours, and they can't either. What they want to do, Mary Jane, and this is something I wanted you to know, if this passes, they feel that they can have enough money set aside to go in on an emergency basis and clean up some of these places and then put it on the tax bill to recoup the revenue. Right now, they don't have the funds up front to even attempt to do it. So they're hoping if this levy passes, they'll generate more income, and they'll be able to do more as far as going in, cleaning something up, and then put it on the tax bill. You know, you got to have that money up front to do it that way. And that's what makes it so difficult for places. And so that's one of the things they're going to do if they get this passed, is what they're telling us, so.
I have a question I'd like to ask Ralph. It was from last month's minutes, because I don't understand. And I'm trying to understand everything here about how we do things. It says that the village is obligated to maintain the storm sewer service, including gutter, downspout, and runoff. Once the sewer system has been established for a number of years, it cannot be taken away. I don't.
Not your downspouts on your property. I mean, we as a village have the right to tell you how to run your downspouts.
Okay.
So that they flow into the curbs and sidewalks and the adjacent property. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. And
Some of that comes
and then the
from
part
the
where it
village.
says once it's been established for a number of years, it can't be taken away. So if you've been doing it for a certain amount of time, then it's, whatever, you know, I don't know. I was trying to understand all this stuff here, and I'm like,
I think
I'm
that information
lost.
came from the county engineer's office.
Didn't come from me personally.
No, Ralph didn't say.
No, but I figured that when we talked about it in the last meeting, you know, Ralph seemed to understand all that, and I just thought, well, you know.
That might be something you want to hold on to and talk to him about later.
Okay.
I also went to the Preble County Mayor's Association, and you know, they have a lot of information for us there too, meetings going on, things to do. One of the things we learned was that Sinclair is closing their campus down here. So at the end of this year, they won't be in Preble County anymore. So that's a shame. One other thing I'd like to do is ask for your permission and your support in signing a proclamation making May Motorcycle Awareness Month here in New Paris. We've been asked to do that and send our proclamation, a copy of it, to the state organization. They're going to print all of them, every place that has done that. I think that might be a good idea, just to remind people to be careful that bikes are back out in the road. I don't think I have to have a motion for that, but I did want you to know that's what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and finish this, so we won't have any other business as far as I know after your executive session. We have council committees to appoint. They've been realigned to take advantage of our new membership, and I've got them all penciled in here, so here we go. Safety, Ralph Duncan, Bill Smith. Finance, Bill Smith and Fields. Building, Luther Conway, Mary Jane Thomas. Street, Bill Smith, Ralph Duncan. Lights, Peggy Bishop, Luther Conway. Sanitation,
What am I on?
lights, street lights. Sanitation, Mary Jane Thomas and Peggy Bishop. Park, Ralph Duncan, Luther Conway. Ordinance and resolution, Mary Jane Thomas, Kim Fields.
What was that?
Ordinance and resolution.
Okay.
Okay? Did everybody get that? We'll have a new list. I'm going to give this to Manny so that we'll have a printed list for everybody with numbers and everything for next meeting. And I think now, if someone wants to make a motion, oh, I did want to do that. Yes, I did. I'm sorry. On April 14th, the landfill is sponsoring the, we should have done this in sanitation, what we were going to do it. Anyhow, they're sponsoring the tires. You can take your tires down, up to 10 per person, per vehicle, or whatever. You have to make an appointment to do it, and you can register to go down. And the reason they do that is they want to make sure they have enough people to handle it at one time, and they don't want the traffic backed up onto the highway. So you have to, they'll tell you what time you can come with tires. You can bring down as many as 10 per vehicle. And you need to call and register between April 9th and April 13th from 8 to 4:30 at the landfill. And after 4:30 on the 13th, no more registrations. So if people have tires that they'd like to get rid of, and, can't be on rims, just tires. We have this, it'll be posted out here in the office.
Have you got April 14th on your paper? Mine says the 13th.
No, did I say 14th? I said the 13th. I'm sorry. I thought I said the 13th. After the 13th, you can't go anymore. But the 14th, Mary Jane, is when it is.
Yeah.
When the collection is. So this will be out there, and anybody that knows anybody that has tires, give them a buzz and tell them they can come down here and get these numbers, call down there and get rid of them.
At the fairgrounds.
No, it's at the, it's down at the landfill. Oh. Take them to the landfill. And there'll be somebody here to take them off for you or whatever, okay? I think that's all I had. Is that all I had? Well, what I'd like the finance people to look at is a levy for police services for the police operation. As I said when we talked about having a continual levy, we have a 3 mil levy, which sounds like a lot, sounds nice, but we passed it in 1982. So we're working on tax monies from the valuations in 1982. It's not going up, it's never gone up.
What is that, like $3,000?
No, it's 21,000.
21,000.
But it's 3
No,
mil.
I thought it was, okay.
I mean, so we'd like you to the finance people to look at what we can get, what we think we can pass. I don't really want to do it, but we could do what they're doing at the county health department. But I don't want to say we're just replacing the other 3 mil thing, because it will be higher. That's why we want to do it. So, and we might not get it passed. So we're going to keep our old one, our continuing one. But we may, if we can add something to that, and like some numbers, I think somebody had some numbers at the last meeting. I'd like you guys to look at it and make a recommendation.
When's the deadline for the November?
It's some time.
Well,
We have some time.
Like the 8th or 9th or 1st.
Is there a motion to go into executive session?
Motion made for executive session.
For legalities, second.
Mary Jane?
Yes.
Peggy? Yes. Luther?